Birds of Prey number 15, written by Dwayne Straczynski, art by Juan Jose Rip. Last issue, we left off with Condor knocking out Black Canary for some reason, and the Dagger Clan taking Katana hostage. So this issue picks up with Condor. He's got a guy, and he's just dangling him as they're flying, just being like, all right, tell me what you know. What's the Dagger Clan going to do? And the guy's like, we got to get out of the city or else we're all going to die. And he's like, oh, something's going to happen to the city. Tell me more. So then we come down to Black Canary, Starling, and Batgirl, who all come back together, which we're just not going to talk about the fact that Condor knocked out Black Canary. Like, it doesn't come up, so sure, whatever. Anyway, they all get together and they're like, hey, does anybody know where Katana is? And Starling's like, I still got a tracker on her suit. We can find her. It says right now she's 1,000 feet below sea level. And we cut over to Katana, who is being held by the Dagger Clan. Her sword is currently being dipped into a molten bath. So it's, I guess, supposedly melting. And the Dagger Clan, including the leader, are there being like, we are here to punish you, Katana. And Katana's like, I didn't do anything. Why are you angry at me? And he's like, but you... To be fair, we're not exactly going to say what you did. We're not exactly sure. But we have this whole plan where this whole city's going to explode in just 15 minutes. It will be uninhabitable for centuries, and you will be the one to blame. And so Katana's like, well, then you better start running. He's like, nope, I am actually pretty fond of being a suicide cult. He says those exact words. And then all of a sudden, an ear-piercing scream comes through the building. And Katana's like, well, you better move fast because that's how you're going to die. So immediately we see Black Canary, Batgirl, and Starling trying to fight back the entirety of the Dagger Clan. And they're like, maybe we're not actually able to deal with this, considering we barely took down a quarter of them last time before having to just run. And we see Katana starting to break free. She gets her sword out of the bath, and she's like, all right, Garasuki, the leader of the Dagger Clan, let's go, let's do this. And Black Canary, she starts feeling that bubbling up inside her. She's like, I'm having another power surge. And she pictures her dead husband's face, Kurt, and she lets out a scream. And Starling's like, dude, you could have just ruptured my eardrums. You just did that without warning. What's going on? Why are you doing that? And she's like, never mind. Let's focus on finding Katana. And they look down the railing and they see Katana taking on basically the entirety of the clan by herself. And she's doing a fantastic job at it. Meanwhile, the Birds of Prey are trying to fight their way down, and as Katana gets a knife held to her throat, she's like, no more delays. This is happening. You're going to die here, Katana. And then up through the sewage comes Condor, who's holding a big box. And apparently this is the bomb. And at that point, the Dagger Clan guy's like, crap. Okay, this actually isn't according to plan. We got to stop that. Get that bomb back down there. So they keep on fighting. The Birds of Prey are still making their way down. And finally they grapple, and Canary uses her cry in order to join into the center of the fight. And Katana's like, all right, hey, my husband in the sword is giving me an idea. Let's cut the bomb in half. And Condor's like, that sounds very stupid and like we're going to die. And she's like, nope, my husband says it'll be fine. Give me the bomb. And she goes to cut the bomb. Dagger guy yells, stop her. But she succeeds, and the bomb malfunctions. And the Dagger Clan's like, okay, we failed. Daggers, prepare for... And then, before we can say anything else, Katana holds a sword to his throat and says, okay, Dagger Clan, your leader currently has lost his will to speak, so I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now. And then we just cut to some time later, where they're all in an airport, and Katana's like, yep, I let them all go. They are free to move around. And they're like, was that a good idea? They're terrorists. Maybe we shouldn't have let that happen. She's like, nah, they're religious idealists, and since they lost their leader, they're not going to do anything. And it's like, all right, well, I guess that's good as whatever. But Katana straight up says, hey, I clearly have some stuff in my past I need to work through. Also, I'm getting my own book soon. so I'm just going to stay here. I'm off the Birds of Prey. And so they have a big group hug and say, like, all right, well, bye. And then we have Canary finally mentioning the fact that Condor knocked her unconscious and says, like, oh, don't, if you see Condor, tell him I forgive him. But we still don't know why. At no point was that. Anyway, so they're on a plane and Starling's like, hey, you want to tell me what happened earlier with your little power surge thing? And she's like, yeah, Kurt used to like boost my powers, but he's dead, yet somehow my powers are being boosted. I don't know what's going on, but whatever you do, don't tell Batgirl. So then we cut to Gotham City. They're all meeting up again. And Batgirl's like, all right, so we're down to 3 members. Clearly we need a 4th. We need a wild card on the team. Sorry, Starling, you're not the wild card. So you guys brought in Poison Ivy. I was pretty against that. I just want you to have an open mind for who I'm bringing to the team. And they're like, okay, who? And they turn around, and it's Strix the Talon. It is the female Talon that they fought back in their tie-in to Night of the Owls that Batgirl met up with in her annual, and now she's a member of the team, I guess. I'm sure, cover for the next issue is them literally fighting, so I'm sure we'll have some arguments about that, but regardless, we're down a member and we're up a member, back to 4. So, yeah, I don't think we ever really had a moment where they just said, yes, Batgirl is on the team. Like, she is now, and that makes sense, and it is reasonable that she would be, but I don't think they ever really had a moment where they explicitly said, you're part of the Birds of Prey. I always thought that it was Katana, Starling, and Black Canary with Poison Ivy before she betrayed them. And I don't know, it's weird to me that Batgirl's just like, yeah, I'm with you guys now, like officially. So overall, I do think that this has probably been the best issue of the arc. I think that it managed to wrap up pretty much everything I needed out of the story. It's weird to me that I don't think we ever got an entirely clear reason for why they were trying to punish Katana, but maybe that'll be the plot for her own book. I don't know. It's honestly up in the air at this point. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this one a 6. I think that it is good. I think it is a fine enough issue, but it's still in a book where there are a lot of problems. And while I do appreciate the fact that this didn't end with Katana saying, now let me tell you what we're going to do, and then next issue we just have to assume that everything worked out, as it has done over like the past 3 arcs, I do think that it did leave quite a bit on the cutting room floor, and I think that this book would benefit from just slowing down a little bit. But hey, we'll see what comes out of it next arc as we're attacked by a Talon again.